Alright, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to create charts in Svelte using chart.js. So at first, we're going to run npm init svelte, click enter, continue. We're going to choose a skeleton project with the TypeScript syntax. Then we're going to run npm install chart.js. Then we're going to run npm run dev. Let's close this. Let's close the terminal. Then let's delete the index.ts folder. File, my bad. Then let's create a types.ts file. This is going to contain a type, which is going to be user. And then we're going to export a function which validates any data, which is going to be an any type, if that is actually a user. So if data is user, const ID valid. So we have to go through every single one of these parameters to check if they are valid. So we check the type of data.id is equal to number. So once you have all the validation set up, we just return them all in a long string of booleans. Let's close this. And in the routes folder, let's create a new file called pluspage.ts. Let's export const load is equal to an async function, which takes in the fetch function. First, say this satisfies page load from $$ types. By the way, if you don't have the $/types inside your editor for the autocomplete, just go inside your terminal and run npm run dev and keep it running because it auto generates the types for you while you're coding. So now let's create a function called an async function called fetch users, which if you guess it, it fetches the users. So we say const result is equal to await fetch. So now once we get the data, once we get the result, we extract the users from result.json. So if the users is not an array, so if not array.isArray users, we return an empty array. Now we create a validated users array, which is going to be a type of user array. Let's import the user type. Now we say for let user of users. If not, validate users. So if the user is not actually a user, we just return an empty array. And then we say validated users dot push user. And then we just return validated users. And now we just return an object of await fetch users. So the users can be fetch users. Now let's close this file. Let's open this up. Let's close this. Let's create a script tag with the language property set to TS. Export let data, page data. Again, if you don't see these imports, go over to your terminal and run npm run dev right here. Now let's create a few variables. One that's called ctx, HTML canvas element or undefined. Copy this down one last time. This is gonna be a chart. We're gonna say import chart from chart.js /auto. Let show age is equal to true. Show age, show weight, and show height. And then for the final one, we're going to create a chart type variable, which is either going to be a line or a bar. by default is going to be line. Then we create a reactive property that checks if the context variable is true. If chart, we say chart dot delete, not chart dot destroy. And then we assign the chart to a new instance of chart. Because this is a class, we give the ctx variable as the first part. We say the type is going to be chart type. By the way, never, never, never import the chart like this. Never import the chart class like this because it gives an error. Always import it as a default from the chart.js/auto, because if you do it the other way, it gives errors that are just unfixable for Svelte. So let's provide some data for this chart. But before it, let's just provide some options. Because of my personal preference, I don't like the actual animation that it gives. So we say the animation is false. And we also say that the scales y begin at 0 is always true. So even if the scale is too big for 0 to be a plausible option for the choices, it's always going to be at 0 when the chart actually shows. So data labels is going to be a mapped version of the users, which just returns the first name and the last name concatenated. So user dot first name space user dot last name. So let's also create a data property, which is going to be the first data set is going to be the user's age. So the user's age. This is also going to be a map dot user dot map user. No, actually, it's going to be age. And then we're going to set the border width property to 2. And then we say hidden. Hidden is equal to not show age. Let's set this to an array, not an object. And this should give no errors. Oh, data sets. Now below here, let's create a div called dot canvas container. Let's create a key block. So $sign key to make sure that anything inside the key block destroys whenever the show age property changes, the show height, show weight, and the show and the chart type property change. Whenever they change, we want to destroy the canvas and reconstruct it so that animations can take place. So then we say a canvas, we bind this to CTX. So CTX is basically a reference to this canvas. So then we say width is 100. So for every 100 pixels that the width has, it gives 50 to the height, and vice versa. Then we say the in property, so the in animation, the in transition, is going to be fade. So let's go over to localhost 5173. And you should see, create a style tag that says dot canvas container has a width of 700 pixels. So the height is actually going to be 350. Oh wait, let's say this is the canvas container. Array. Let's see what happens. Let's see the validate user function. Oh, so this is weight. This is age, ID. Oh, this is supposed to be first name and last name. First name and then last name. And that should fix the problem. You see, now we have a line graph. With Terry, whatever his name is, we can see his age, which is 50. We can see her age. We can see all these people ages. Let's remove this console log, and let's create three more data sets, two more actually. One for the height and one for the weight. And there's gonna be weight, weight, so you can see that we have different lines showing the different stats for the user. So now let's create a select div select that contains two options, option times 2. Remove the name property, remove the ID, and we're gonna bind value to chart type, and it's gonna be line or bar, line or bar. So if we change this, you see that it fades in and it changes the actual type of the graph. So if we set it to line, it's a line graph, and if we set it to bar, it's a bar graph. So now let's create a div that contains a label for age that actually contains an input type checkbox with an ID of age plus a span. Let's remove the name and let's say is equal to show age. Maybe show age. Let's make sure to expand all these out so it's not confusing. Do it like this. And you can see that we could dismiss the age every time we toggle this. And you can see that it works for the bar graph as well. Now let's do this. Let's copy this a few more times. And this is going to be for the height. Show height. Show weight. And you can see that once we toggle these, we could toggle the age, the weight, and the height. So you can see that the weight, the height, we could also set it to bar graph, displaying just one, or displaying both, or all three. And finally, we create a link to download the actual graph that we created. So it's actually relatively simple. We just create an anchor tag with an href set to the context data URL. So data URL. And we're going to add some extra properties so the downloading experience is better. So we said target is equal to underscore blank. So we create a new tab whenever we want to download it. And we set the download to graph.png. So we set the name. And now inside the content, we just say open graph PNG. And now you see that we can create a bar graph that shows the height and the weight of each person. We can open PNG. And you can see that we have the chart. It works even for the line graph. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. And I hope you like these types of videos. If you don't, comment down below. And if you do, comment down below either way. I hope you have a great day. And I hope I serve you some value. Thank you for watching.